Okay, this is a video recording of Robin Williams, my encounter with Spirit. Happened on last Saturday. I don't have a date on it yet. Anyway, let's see. Happened on. I went downtown Saturday night to Sarasota. Downtown, walked around Main Street, walked around, there's a little movie theater. I like going down there, sort of something about the energy of it's not so negative as the rest of Tampa and St. Pete. Anyway, around Sarasota, I like going around that area. And I got a feeling of, like a thought of Robin Williams. This came into mind, just hit me like a rock. Just all of a sudden I had thoughts about it. It's like, what is this? And I found it, and then suddenly I feel a spirit around me, a white spirit, just a presence. And all of a sudden all this information came through. I'll just tell you, I'm not going to read into it. I'm just going to tell you what I got. And we'll go into the reading of everything else. I'll just tell you what I got from that time. What I felt is he's on the other side, surrounded by white light. He's very quiet. He's obviously surrounded by spirits. And he was fine. He was communicating it with me. I guess I'm one of the few that can communicate with. That at least, I guess, accept this information, or obviously he wants this information out. The feeling I got was I kept getting body. His problem was his body. Not just his mind, but his entire body was just in pain. Just it wasn't drugs it wasn't that. It was just, I kept getting body. His body was just in pain. He couldn't take it anymore. It wasn't a planned suicide. And the suicide itself, what he did, slitting his wrists and hanging himself, that was it was pretty horrifying to do, but the pain that he was going through, it was not that horrific. Doing what he did, it was just it's time to go. It was just too much. And I'm just giving you what I got from that night. The other thing is like mental illness, depression. There's different types of mental illness also, but obviously he picked this life. He picked his parents. Of course, he didn't pick his suicide. That wasn't planned. That never is. But he was always had mental problems. But that's where his genius came through. Genius was born through, insanity, basically. That's how art works. I would say most of the time, or all the time. It comes through insanity. He had to impress his mother, from what I've heard, when he was a kid, to get attention, to be funny. And that's where he came to life, basically. That's his, comes out of the mental illness of depression, because he was always alone as a kid, so he developed, I don't know if he already had mental illness as a kid, most likely. I haven't read into that. Most likely. But his genius came out of his mental illness, but he's always been depressed his whole life. Of course, every case is different. But for him, depression. Of course, a lot of comics are depressed. Everybody's depressed, but comics are kind of interesting because they seem to be more depressed. They make everybody happy but themselves. They don't make themselves happy. But for him, his mental illness, like I said, body, but mental illness it just got out of control. And it was not drugs. I'll read into it later. But as far as I know, it was not drugs. Everything was breaking down for him. It wasn't the movie roles and all that. He didn't really. I don't think that was a problem. I don't think that it wasn't Mrs. Doubtfire that made him kill himself. It's just everybody's different. It's hard to know what he went through in his shoes, but it was enough. He couldn't take it anymore. And like I said, yeah, he tried everything to avoid this. And he had thoughts about it before, but never thinking he would actually ever do it. And it just, yeah, it was a last minute thing. But he's fine now. He's on the other side. He's, like I said, quiet. I don't think he's quiet anymore since then. I don't think so. Yeah, I can still feel his presence. He's fine now. I think he's not quiet anymore. When he first got in, he was very quiet. Surrounded by loved ones, his spirit guides and other loved ones. He's always surrounded by white light. Not anymore. Well, yes, still with that. And he's not quiet anymore. Now he's sort of adjusted now. Before he was in like a transition. Yeah, it wasn't the drugs that did it. Yeah, just pain. They're just going through non-stop pain. Head, more in the head than, okay, before I got body, I'm getting in the head. The mind, just his entire mind is just engulfed in just pain. Nobody understood his situation. Couldn't talk to anybody. Couldn't get medical help. This is like, medicine can only do so much. It can just give you pills for everything. They have no idea if it's going to work or not. What are the side effects? I think he went through other side effects with some of the drugs. The Parkinson's situation came up. He was medicated for that, but that wasn't the problem. It wasn't a drug it was pain. Pain in the head. Just, getting self-doubt, getting old. Like I said, nobody understood him. Nobody understood what he was going through. And it was pretty much no one he could talk to anymore. It was just... And there's rare cases like this, and he was one of them, where nobody can help him anymore. He tried everything. The call for... I get he had a call for help, but no one responded. I think he left some mess. Yeah, from what I get, he did say a couple of things to some people. Nobody really caught on. That hasn't come out yet. I don't think it ever will. He hinted at... I'm getting at he couldn't take it anymore. His wife knew about it, but she didn't quite understand the message of it, of how bad he really was. But he had friends that he mentioned that he just couldn't take it anymore, and I don't think they really read into how bad it was. Because I keep getting the mind. Pressures with money, but that's not why he did it. Pressures of money. Money seemed to change him. I'm feeling it changed him into a person he didn't really want to be. It made him it spoiled him, basically. He sort of lost in touch of what he wanted to do with his comedy. He made it more about the money than about the art. And that's one of the things he really regrets, is that he made it about the money, not the art. I picked up on this earlier. He would have been a better comic if he was poor. Just scrapping by. No, not super poor, but as a poor comic, he probably would have done a lot better. He would have served his art better, served people better. Audience, even stand up, he would have been able to have the energy for that. He would have took better care of himself. Well, actually, he would have, because I feel some drugs, obviously recreational drugs. I think I heard about alcohol. Recreational, just illegal drugs. I'm not sure about cocaine. It doesn't matter. But anyway, yeah, he indulged in drugs, and that kind of took him off where he wanted to go with his art. I don't know if this is well known. I don't know a whole lot about him. So anyway, we're just gonna go by what I'm picking up. I feel like drugs is what kind of twisted his view of things and made it about the money and not about I'm repeating myself. So drugs is definitely a regret. Nothing much you can help. It was addiction that he couldn't really drinking. He had a drinking problem. I think I heard about that. I'm getting into other drugs than drinking, illegal, whatever it could be. But let's see. Because he couldn't really ever talk to anybody. What I'm getting is he mismanaged his career. He should have. Well, I'm feeling he should have stayed in stand-up. Or did more stand-up. I say stand-up keeps coming up. Comedy clubs. That should have been his roots. That should have been where he stayed in. Because Hollywood is sort of I want to say an abyss. It changes you. Hollywood changed him from, he's like a lighthearted guy, easygoing, and then he get, the money and everything sort of twisted his view on life and everything around him. Of course, his heart was always in the right place, but his mind always wasn't. It was about him, selfish, drinking, getting on addictions because, you're depressed because you have everything. And, what I'm getting is that there weren't many roles for him that were what he really wanted. That's not why he killed himself. But, they weren't there to show his artistic ability anymore. He wasn't able to show himself anymore. The material wasn't there anymore like it used to be. I guess the world changed. So that was the problem. Of course, in this man, I don't think he ever wanted to ever retire. That was the other thing. He makes all this money, I go retire. That was never. It was working to pay off his divorce rate, which is obvious. But that's part of it. But the other part is that he loved the work. It's just the work wasn't of the quality as it used to be. Dead Poet Society. Etc. Those classics. Even with the television show, because that was around his final days. I don't think he didn't mind doing television. It was a check, but it was fun to do. So I don't see people say Mrs. Doubtfire. I don't think he wanted. I don't know. I'm not getting that from him. The second Mrs. Doubtfire, I'm not getting that. That was all that much of him as a job. It's something to. He can be, the artist. It was, he can show his stuff basically. I don't see that was a problem. Maybe, on the outside he might have mentioned that, but everybody, because why? Because the roles weren't there. The quality roles that he wanted weren't there. That made him so, iconic. The quality of the material wasn't there, so that was probably what it was. But as for the job itself, as for the Mrs. Doubtfire, I don't think that was like I said, the television show. I think he had fun. Yeah, he had fun doing it, and it was no regret to it. And too bad that it didn't go. It wasn't as successful as he was hoping it would be. What I'm getting is, I said it was mental illness from when he was a child. I think it was just, what I feel is drug abuse is to sort of put him in this spot. That's a feeling I'm getting. Drug abuse is what, drinking, etc. That kind of put him in that area of depression. Obviously, that stuff doesn't help anybody. And that was what it wasn't mental illness as a kid. course, everybody's crazy as a kid, but everybody has a little bit of mental illness. As artists are crazy. That's normal. But what really put him into his area was drug abuse from the past, and sort of, I guess it puts you in a state where you can't get out of it sometimes. You need more of the drug to get out of it. You need more cocaine, need more alcohol to get out of it, and I think that's where the state he was at. The damage has already been done. Let's put it that way. Yeah, the cancellation of the show put him in a depression. Yes, that is a definite. Felt like a failure, and it's just, yeah. And because he actually loved doing the show, and it was a big surprise. He thought it was going to really go somewhere. Because when you see clips of it, actually, his performance is great. But I guess this is me talking. I think it just him on there wasn't enough, and the show itself just wasn't. I mean, he was in a draw, which is good. But I don't think the material was. People just didn't find the show all that entertaining. But obviously I found him entertaining, but it wasn't enough. Let's see. It's what I'm getting is he didn't see this coming with the show being canceled because he thought it was a good show, and then he dropped into a depression he couldn't get out of. He has been depressed before, but this one was worse than the others. I think it's due to drug addiction. It sort of dug its hole. I think drug addiction and alcohol, all that sort of dug a hole in him already. And so now he's on his high with the show. The show got canceled. And it's like, he's down in the dumps and he couldn't get out of it. This time is worse than other times. And, it's hard for people to realize, but yeah, it was pretty deep. Suicide was no big deal compared to what he was going through. It was like death already. It's like he was dead already. And it's hard for people to understand that, but if you go through depression, you know that. Oh yeah, that was right. That was the other thing. I think a lot of people that are depressed, that want to commit suicide, change their minds after this. God, hopefully they have. Because there are rare cases where suicide's the only escape. Because there is no help. There's nothing. We can only I think a lot of people change their minds after the event with Robin Williams, which is good. Because a lot of people try to commit suicide for the wrong reasons. If they are depressed, which they are legitimately ill, but not ill enough to not get treatment. You don't give treatment a chance, because there is a lot of treatment out there. But in his case, treatment doesn't seem to be working anymore. Like I said, it was one of those rare cases, and it's one of those deep, deep depressions where you're ill, you're sick, and it's just you're dead already, basically. Unfortunately. And suicide is a release. Is to go home. It's to get it's the only thing you got. It's terrible, but you have to look at it in his shoes. If you feel like you're already dead, in the mind, but you can't get out. You've already tried to get out. That did happen. Trying to escape it, but you couldn't do it. And especially at his age, and the mind's already going as it is. Parkinson's. I would say Parkinson's had not the drug he was taking, but the illness of the mind. It affects your brain. It is your brain. That had a part of it too. Just the wires are just all disconnect. Anyway, I'm not a science junkie, but when the mind goes, you're pretty much history. Yeah, the pain was so bad that thinking about the future was not happening anymore. Thinking, period, wasn't happening anymore. It's like your whole world is like in a black hole. Your mind is in a black hole, and all you have is that black hole, and you have nothing else. And that's what it seems like he was in. There's nowhere, there's nowhere. But after this, obviously there's going to be more treatment for depression. There's going to be more money put into depression to cure this, to help cure it. Let's put it that way. More counseling is going to, I think, a whole new light to put on depression. Thank God for, because this is science. I mean, the funding for this type of thing is not always easy, and there is money for this, but they've gotten the science down on a lot of it, but they can't. It's still a big mystery, a lot of it. With counselors and therapists, it's just there's so much more to learn about it that I don't think. There's still. It's hard. Obviously, it's not. You can't save everybody, but with his death, there's going to be more experiments into this. More people are going to be saved because of him, because of this. More attention is going to be put to depression, and to help, people, help find a cure for it, or at least find the people that are going through this, find them help so they don't have to go this route. But it's going to happen. It's just the way. What happened to him is going to happen. Unfortunately, but hopefully a lot more of a future situations like this can be prevented. I feel like a lot of them are going to be prevented now because of this. Okay, I keep getting a second coming of him. I don't know what that means. There's going to be a second coming. I don't know. What does that mean? No answers. Just the second coming. Not from him, from someone else. Another comic or be. I have his inspired by him. There's so many comics that are inspired by him. So I figured we'll see a recreation of him somewhere. A big one. That's influenced by him. Several. Definitely. I figure my feeling is one definitely. You're going to be several, but one definitely. Somebody. There's a comic I want to say right now that's going to that's already influenced by, and that's going to really make his mark. It's going to be, I would say, become popular, famous. One I'm getting that's going to be walking in his footsteps. Totally inspired by him, by Robin Williams. And I feel that it's already out there right now, just not known. I get a couple years, they might be noticed. 4 or 5 years. Another thing, I might as well put this out there because this is gonna be. I don't think his wife knew anything about this, about what he's gonna do. But just put it this way: what she says, she has no idea. She didn't have no idea what happened. Because that's true. She had no clue. He didn't want her to know. It's just they've had, I would say, feeling they had fights about not this but other things. Just there's just a lot of static in the relationship, and he was just on shutdown. Unfortunately, that wasn't planned, and like I said, his mind. The best way to describe his mind was in a black hole. If any of you have been depressed like this, it's pretty horrible. I can get a feeling from him, and it's pretty intense. What it is that when you go into this deep of depression, there's no way out. There's no real, it's like you fall down a cliff and you just keep falling. That's what this is. And climbing out is pretty impossible. That's what it is. It's like a hole in your brain, a hole in your mind, where your mind, you just slip down and you just go, and that's the end of you. That's where he was at. That's the best way to describe it. And finding somebody to understand that is so unlikely. It's just impossible. I mean, it's like you're dead. You're dead. Your mind, your mind's just, there's no turning around, there's no going back. When you fall down that cliff, you're done. Unfortunately. Let's see here. He did have his future planned. As for those films, he's planning on keep working. He worked because he enjoyed the work. Just hear people talking about he wanted to work to pay his bills. Yes, but he enjoyed working. It's just the quality of the work wasn't as good as it used to be. That was the problem. He was trying to find his niche where he can really come back and make a big comeback to the audience, where you have a classic, scene, where he can, like Dead Poet Society, something like that can touch the audience again. Good Will Hunting is another one, to really touch the audience again, just, grab them again. And the material just wasn't there to do that, to feel fulfilled. A lot of the film, the TV show was fulfilling actually. Some of the things he does are not very fulfilling, but that's not why he killed himself. The job's a paycheck. You make the fun, you make the best out of it. It's a job, but after that show canceled, he just took a dive. His mind took a dive. That was the end of it. Unfortunately. If I have anything else, I'll add, but right now that should be enough. Good day.